Why is the display like... Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, man. Alright, it's gonna be really extremely rocky here. I'm setting up my streaming on a different computer. Please let me know if there's any problems. Obviously the scene is not right. I might be able to fix that. Well, this is going to be kind of a challenge with the there we go. Yeah, so as some of you will have heard, my old workstation bit the dust after many attempts to repair and fix and so forth. Sorry, this is gonna be like a garbage stream, just so you guys are warned. As what's it been, like a million years since I streamed last? A really long time. Okay, if anybody could let me know if the audio is actually coming through, I would super appreciate it. Let me see if I can pop out the chat here. There we go. Alright, I'm organizing my desktop right now. Literally, that's the stage of streaming that I'm at. On my other computer, I had everything set up like exactly the way I wanted / needed it, and then I had to completely redo everything on this backup computer. This is kind of funny. I built this computer, I think like maybe 6 years ago or something, for my partner. And oh, thank you, Ramsey. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I had to set up my headset, so oh wow, this is really not optimal for me. I have a computer next to me that's preventing me from seeing the window where my avatar is, because I'm on a 4K television instead of a monitor. It's a really weird setup. Just everything is like hacked together at this point. And this computer that I'm on is made from salvaged parts from like 3 other computers that failed. Anyway, what I was trying to get around to saying was that I built this computer for my partner, and she doesn't really game much, so I've sort of just taken over it temporarily. But the really funny thing about it was I built it like 6 years ago, and within the period of 5 years or so, I ended up rebuilding my workstation, which finally kicked the bucket last year, 3 different times. It was just crazy. Every time I got it working and everything was going well, something would fail. Like first it was the graphics card, and then it was the CPU, and finally, I got a new CPU from AMD via uh, warranty, and like that was literally the first time I'd ever had a CPU fail on me in my entire like 2 decades of computer building. And sorry, this is like a really boring story, but just put up with it. So anyway, I know my way around building computers, and I mean I've made probably like I don't know 8 different computers in the last 20 years. But this one computer, I don't know what the problem was. Oh yeah, the motherboard failed too. So like I pretty much completely rebuilt the computer 3 separate times, and at the end of all that, I was just kind of like amazed because this old backup computer I made 6 years ago was still just like totally rock solid and never had any problems, and that's the one I'm on right now. So I don't know if that's commentary towards the state of hardware, and so like this newer generation of stuff is just less resilient or robust, or just is more like engineered obsolescence. You know, it's like designed to fail after a certain amount of time. Who knows? It could have just been really bad luck. But anyway, so my nice workstation, which has like an actual gaming graphics card in it, is in my closet just gathering dust, and it's been there for over a year now, which is kind of annoying. But this backup computer, since I've upgraded it pretty steadily over the last 6 years, it's not ideal at all for what I'm doing, but it does actually work. Sorry I'm taking so long to find a sim. You guys know the drill. My routine, my Second Life exploration routine is to just open the world map and scroll around until I find something that looks interesting. By the way, I was on here a few minutes ago. I'd opened Second Life for the first time in maybe a year, and I couldn't remember the interface controls. I was just like, had my hands like hovering over the keyboard, like, what do I do to control this thing? I totally forgot. Swing Island, that sounds like a sex sim or something. I don't know, I'm feeling in a PG mood today. I'm just taking way too long. I probably need more coffee. Here, let me take a swig. That's a cool looking sim. PSU land, like power supply unit land. I don't know. I'm kind of intrigued. Let's see if I can go there. Definitely haven't been here before. Yeah, the frame rate, let's see, what am I getting? 65 frames per second? Not bad, mainly because I turned down some of the key settings that affect performance, and also my window is really small. I don't know why it's so tiny. Like, I'm on a 4K display. I just haven't fine-tuned Open Broadcast Studio yet, but I will eventually get around to that. It looks like I might need to adjust the latency too for the stream, because it looks like there's a pretty significant delay between what I'm seeing and what's on the screen, like maybe a 5-second delay. Prince of Songkla University? Oh, okay, so it's a university sim, but I don't always bother with these kind of more corporate slash academic installations, but they can occasionally be cool. So I pasted the SL URL into the chat, the chat stream, in case anybody wants to follow me around or retroactively explore the sim on their own time. So yeah, wow, life. Am I right? Like, Jesus Christ, the last time I did a stream, things were a little sketchy. Like, COVID was kind of in full swing, although I think it was even before Delta. Wow, this sim is sim is pretty tepid, and it looks like it's also kind of a work in progress. Like there's a lot of unfinished construction happening. I feel like I'm in Dubai right now. Like this is totally reminding me of Dubai. So yeah, like a lot's happened since I was online. I didn't want to stop streaming at all. Honestly, I was just like getting into it when my computer died, and that was like a huge depressing setback, especially since I was like, I don't think I had a job then. I think I was unemployed, and I was just like, I didn't have the money to fix my workstation, which I still kind of don't, but that's not really the issue. I mean, since I have all these backup computers, man, this sim is just boring. Sorry guys, but the only thing I liked so far about this sim is the big fountain in the middle, which is kind of garish, but nonetheless mildly cool. Yeah, they're working hard. I will say that it looks like they're definitely making an effort here to populate the sim with structures and so forth, but yeah, it's one of those projects that could, who knows, drag on for months and with like little incremental changes, and then they just like stop paying tier at some point. You never know with these things. Oh yeah, the metaverse, or Facebook Meta happened while I was in my unplanned coma. Alright, I'm gonna open up the map, find a better sim, because PSU land is unfinished business. Alright, Divinia Comedia, that sounds cool. Let's try this. Yeah, so Meta. Oh my god, what a joke, am I right? Am I right, guys? Meta's hilarious. Hilarious. I can't stop laughing. I mean, honestly, I can't think of a better thing to have happened to Mark Zuckerberg, because, you know, I think he's pretty much universally hated. I don't know if there's anybody who actually likes Mark Zuckerberg. It's really sad. I feel like I've been here before, but at the same time, I'm not sure. Oh yeah, I usually do a check of, like a land check to see what's going on. Okay, Paradiso Monster Mansion, Zirakucho, Japanese Landscape, Kabuto City, Cyber City, High Cafe Club 52, so it's a bunch of different things on one sim without any real, explanation as to what the grander purpose is, but I'll just fly around and take a look. I kind of like the sunken structure, although I think I've seen this prefab on a lot of different sims. Yeah, once I stopped trying to figure out the interface, or like try to remember, and I just like completely ignored what my hands were doing, they just like fell right into place, and I was using the interface like I'd never stopped. It sure was weird opening Second Life up and being like, what the hell do I do to get my avatar or my camera to move? Because it's the avatar movement is easy, anybody can do that, but the camera is the issue. So we got like a little DJ station here. This must be the Club 52 or whatever, maybe? I don't know. Who knows? Sometimes you can't like swing a dead avatar without hitting a DJ table in Second Life. They're just kind of like plastic bags blowing around the landscape, you know. Oh, YouTube's not receiving enough video. I don't have any bandwidth problems. I don't know what oh, I know what it is. It's OBS. I haven't configured OBS properly. I I've got like a 30 megabit downstream and like a 10 megabit upstream. So the bandwidth's not a big issue, but OBS is kind of finicky. I had it all like custom set up on my other system, so I didn't have a lot of problems with latency or any other thing like that. Anyway, I feel like I just kind of launched. That's kind of cool. I kind of just launched into the stream because I was a little, I don't know, trepidatious from not streaming for as long as I have. But yeah, how is everybody? Just have 2 viewers right now, which is cool. That's usually how the streams start out. How you guys been? Staying alive? Thriving? I had last year, 2021, literally the worst year of my life. And I would tell you the full story, but unfortunately it involves other people. And because I want to protect their privacy and so forth, I can't give you any details. But yeah, it was a horrific year, and not ironically, well, I don't know, this isn't entirely accurate. I mean, it's like whenever something horrible happens or there's a traumatic event in your life or just some monumental change. Thanks, Ramsey. Human brains, they always want to find the reason, the cause. This is normal. That's like evolutionary psychology 101, survival instinct. So we try to forensically untangle, the web of causality that is responsible for the trauma or whatever, change happens. And so many times, like one of my first therapists that I had, who I absolutely loved, told me that those are adorable little bunnies. Let's see if I got my old scanning mojo back here. It's been so long. He's got little like holly berries on his stomach. Man, he looks so fucking relaxed. So relaxed. Oh my god, I wish I was that rabbit right now. And these look like animeshes. The animation's so smooth. And I'm having trouble actually focusing on them, so. Oh my god, Ramsey. Okay, yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if I want to try to top that. I mean, I can tell you this. The Cliff Notes, basically what happened was, I almost lost, like, everything. Like, I had no security whatsoever. Like, I'm trying not to be too specific, but, like, my pets, my home, my relationship, my income, mental health, it all just kind of collapsed simultaneously because of one event that happened. Or, as I was trying to say, like, we always try to just narrow things down, to one factor, but in reality it's never just one factor. It's always a whole bunch of factors. And yeah, my first therapist, she told me this great thing that's really helped me out, and I think it's super insightful about humans, this like misattribution thing that we do. It's one of those key characteristics of human analytic behavior where we decide, or we select the thing that we think is the problem, and sometimes it is, or sometimes it's the biggest factor, and other times it's not at all. It's like a completely different thing, and we're just misattributing, the events or the tragedy or whatever to that thing. And that, of course, is problematic, because anytime we don't understand cause and effect relationships accurately, it causes problems, because it's like bad learning. It's like junk information, and it makes it really hard to it's an inaccurate perception of reality. So when you have a misconception and you're operating on that, you usually just cause more problems. So yeah, I don't know. My situation was kind of like that. It was a million different factors, that some of them like over 20 years in the making, some more recent, all kind of like coming together simultaneously, in addition to like health things and COVID and relocation. Anyway, I'm starting to feel like a whiny bitch at this point after reading Ramsey's thing. Yeah, so there's always a bigger fish. That's the only great thing that ever came out of Star Wars Episode 1. Was it Attack of the Clones? Where was it Qui-Gon? I think it was Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan's mentor or whatever, Jedi Master guy, who was like, there's always a bigger fish. Or maybe it was Obi-Wan who said that, I don't know. But yeah, there's always there's always a bigger tragedy. And the whole time ironically, as I was going through this year-long self-destructing life and personality and everything else, I kept thinking at least I'm not in a literal war zone, or Palestine or something, where every day you never know if you're gonna be blown up, or not that Palestine is exactly like that, but just a vague comparison. Or any country where terrorism and lawlessness is rampant. I don't know, there's so many different places in the world where that's the case. So it's there's a lot of options to pick from. I don't know if the Congo is as bad as it used to be, but I'm gonna try this. Our Dream. Here's a 4-sim complex. Looks like they're somewhat integrated. Yeah, it looks like they tried to, it's one big map. Anyway, this looks kind of cool. I don't know. I'm almost more excited to click on Beware, but I'm gonna see if I can check out them all. Teleport failed. Damn. It's been a while, but I knew that was inevitable at some point. Yeah. There's always some worse situation that you could be in. Jesus Christ. White, cisgendered, male, quasi middle class. What do I have to? I'm on easy mode. In the game of life, I'm already on easy mode. So yeah, I don't know. It's hard to balance, and also it's relative. It's not like you can live in somebody else's shoes or experience life through their lens. So when something bad happens in your life, even if you're used to privilege and stuff, even a small thing can seem like a big deal. M. Strange, who is now Satoshi something or other, Nakamanli, I don't know what his new name is, but anyway, he's a cool old school YouTuber. You some of you might recognize the name. He said something cool in one of his videos a while back that I really resonated with me. If you've never been punched, a harsh word or a mean thing or an insult is like a punch. It's we all have our set points, And add on to that, me in particular, I haven't made any effort to hide my autism. In fact, I've been pretty vocal about it on here. Autism spectrum disorder, high functioning, more specifically. And that, of course, adds an additional challenge for me personally, I think. Liminal worlds, have I been here? Anyway, I'm going to try this. Sounds enticing, to say the least. Oh, this is one of those high-minded art sims. This was probably on, like, the Second Life pics or something. I feel like I've seen that name somewhere before. Pretty awesome so far, though. Let me, yeah, so, like, not only are people's circumstances drastically different in life and their set points, but then they have, like, their own mental health challenges, which can magnify or, in some rare and fortunate cases, reduce the impact of trauma. And I'd say I kind of have a mixed bag for me, because occasionally my autism protects me from social situations that I just completely don't understand or misread, and I'm just oblivious to them, in which case the impact isn't felt, which, I mean, I don't know if I like that, but I know it's a thing that happens on occasion. But other times, like, one of the characteristics of my autism, and I don't know how common this is, but I am very, like, routine driven and dependent, I guess you could say, for feeling okay and having well-being and stability, solidity, predictability. These are, like, things I've struggled so hard to cultivate, and, like, I really put a lot of effort into. God, there's a lot of ravens on this sim. I really have worked very hard in my life to cultivate those qualities and sort of, like, surround myself with those qualities so that I can feel better, you know, because life is already pretty stressful, and then add in a weird mental health condition that. Let's see if I can get rid of this little cross thing. God, I've completely forgotten how to do this. There we go. Cool bridge. I know all I need is a wizard's staff, and it's just like, you shall not pass. That was my horrible Gandalf impression. Yeah, everybody tries to find that set of conditions in their life that makes them feel safe and happy and content, comfortable, and all that. And I put a lot of effort into trying to engineer that in my life, like as much latitude as I had available at any given moment. I've really worked to establish that, and I need it, literally. Like, I can't function very well without a degree of that. And clearly my avatar can barely walk because of all these trees. All these chaotic trees. So yeah, when that is threatened or destabilized, or those elements are impacted in some way, and suddenly my routines get majorly disrupted, it has a pretty disproportionate impact. I mean, of course, resiliency, one of those key elements of the human psyche, that you pretty much need resilience if you're gonna survive in the world. And just enjoying the props here. taking a little mental break. Oh, that's cool. Like a, what do you call this? I don't know. Alright. Properties. Object profile. Dust bunny. Oh man. Didn't see that coming. God, I can't even remember the name of the creator on here that used to always get me every time I would inspect something. I've seen a lot of these props before though. Ooh, I like this like summoning book, or it's like a demon trapped in there or something. It's pretty cool. I guess the frame rate's not trash. I think if I can just get OBS working and optimized. Ghost bullet, huh? Okay. My stream will be back up to snuff, more or less. And I could, if I wanted to, I could take the really nice video card out of my closet and potentially put it in this computer, although I'd rather avoid that. I'm just so sick of working on computers, like... I mean, what I really should have done was, instead of wasted all that money, like, buying new motherboards and CPUs, memory, and, like, just getting caught up in the trap of computer maintenance, if I'd just, like... probably bought an off-the-shelf computer, or like a pre-assembled kit off a Newegg or something. That probably would have just been a better solution, but I don't know, I like building computers. My one criticism of this sim is there are just way too many ravens and crows, okay? I mean, there has to be a limit, and the limit has been exceeded here by a fairly wide margin. I mean, actually, Coven of Crows. I mean, the sim is called Coven of Crows, so maybe I should cut them a little slack for that, but... lots of bird cages. I don't know. If I was a crow, I would not want to hang out on an island full of bird cages. That's like a snail hanging out in a lot full of steamrollers. Oh crap. Well, that was inevitable. I mean, come on. Is there ever a single time when I don't end up in the water on one of these videos? That's cool. There's just feathers floating in the water. And of course there's no flying on the sim, so I'm just gonna hopefully teleport back onto the mainland or something. Or one of these little islands. Oh great, there's a landing point, even better. Although, not better in certain ways. Let's see if I can do my old trick. It's been a while, and I don't even know if this still works. Okay, I'm gonna copy the title. And I'm gonna go to Plain Plains. I'm gonna fly. And then I'm gonna open the map again, paste in the title, and then go to Luna Worlds, and hopefully I'll be flying when I get there. Well, that's nice. You know, this doesn't always work, and I don't know why. Maybe it's because of the sim versions or something. I need to change the light settings, because honestly I can't see anything. There's like a huge glare on my TV that I'm using as a display, so that makes it even harder. I really wanted to explore some of these ancillary islands. So yeah, I really missed streaming. I was really enjoying it. Like, I didn't, like, when I first started, I liked it. It wasn't like thrilling exactly. In fact, it kind of made me unhappy. I didn't enjoy it. I kind of had to make myself do it sometimes. Not like I was making myself do it for any specific reason. It was something I wanted to do, so I was making myself do it, or like kind of kick-starting myself. Because once I got started, then it was pretty easy to. That's a cool bridge concept held up by hot air balloons. I would wonder if that would work in real life. I mean, I suppose if there was like hydrogen or helium in there in like sealed containers that you wouldn't have to worry about them bursting, it might work. Sorry, I'm a little scatterbrained. Just had so much on my mind. Oh yeah, Apple Fall, Romsey. Oh my god, you know me so well. One of my true fans. But yeah, I really started to get into streaming, like, loving it. Like, really loving it. And of course, as you all know, it's not like I get a ton of views. I never have. I mean, not on these videos. I've gotten a ton of views on specific videos that I've done. But, not really on streaming views. I mean, I'm lucky if I get into the triple digits. But, yeah, I was kind of just doing it for my own edification and amusement, which, honestly, in my opinion, is almost the best reason to do anything if you can get away with it. But, yeah, I really missed it, and I'm glad to be back. That's how I wish I'd started the video. But this has been the status quo of my life lately, is like not having any stability or methodology whatsoever, and I've had to become like really comfortable and fluent being in that sort of mindset, which in a way is a good thing. Like, I will say, yes, 2021 was the worst year of my life. It was hellish. I barely survived. I really did. It was dicey there for a while. But I feel like that horrible adage about what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, which of course is only true sometimes, certainly not all the times. Or I would say it's true, but it's also not true in the sense that you are made stronger in some ways and weaker in others, or you're traumatized, and trauma has lasting effects that you kind of carry with you until the weight becomes, the trauma sheds weight over time, and like if you keep carrying it, keep feeding it energy, it doesn't get any lighter. Sometimes it just gets heavier and heavier until you can't go on, and that's the end. But if you can deal with it in a way that is healthy and not feeding it energy, but also not like turning it into one of those horrible ingrown situations where it becomes like a part of you and you're not really feeding it, but it also is kind of crippling, and like a weird codependent sort of relationship can happen with trauma, I think, under certain circumstances. But if you're able to actually draw away energy from it in I don't know, this is a really nuanced thing, like a compassionate, self-compassionate way, and it can just get lighter and lighter until you can finally, at some point in your life, just set it down and walk away, you know, like let it go, and not in like a too soon way, but in like it just feels like the right time, and you realize like you've gained everything you can from that trauma, like all the wisdom and learning. You've got it, and you don't need to carry it anymore. Um, that's a really good place to be, and I feel like, yeah, I definitely had a little bit of that last year, or maybe earlier this year. It's hard to say. Anyway, this is a cool sim. I don't know. See if I can get a little information. A place between worlds ruled by crows and magical souls, so they aren't joking about the crows. Pretty cool sim. If you can put up with the incessant cawing, at least. Oh yeah, I like that one. Alright. I think I might have it in me for maybe one more sim. We'll see. That was cool though. Liminal Worlds, worth a check out. Just bring your earplugs or your rock salt shotgun. Country Estate, Shining Shoals. That sounds kind of cool. But it's probably like one of those. That doesn't look like a beach sim. I'm gonna try this one out. It's really nearby. Southern Plains. Oh, that's cool. Is that a mainland? Oh, map of Gore. It's a Gore sim. Or, yeah, it must be a Gore sim otherwise. It's just crazy how big that subculture is. There's so many subcultures that I do not understand. Kind of like Scientology is sort of a one of those things where, I mean, Scientology is a cult, but there are so many cult like entities in the world that I just cannot comprehend. Like, it's really fascinating how these things form organically. Oh, this sim is just like, it's like they took a whole sim and they just made this tiny little bubble up in outer space. Huh. I'm not sure I really want to try to break out of this bubble. I mean, I think this is probably an RP sim. There's probably ways to like teleport. In fact, there's a teleporter pad. I don't know. I'm just like touch and go here. Alright, I'll try the RP area. Okay, did that not work? Or maybe I have to be standing on the teleporter. God, these things are so... If only Second Life had a universal... Like, if only Linden Labs had played a little more active role. Yeah, it's just not working for some reason. Probably because I don't have the right HUD or something. Anyway, this was a disappointing experience. I'm not even going to copy it into the chat stream. How is this? Avalon. I'm really like scatterbrained today. Honestly, I don't know if I'm gonna say anything interesting at this point. I almost just want to be quiet and explore. Definitely the next time I stream, if there is a next time, you just never know. I will have gotten all of my OBS stuff sorted by then. Oh, look at these little welcome on build. Oh, cool. I hope these are open, but they're probably not. That sucks. It's like a Welcome Island template. It's kind of messy how they just leave them around. But I really wish, I can't really think of an analog for this, but, you know, Linden Labs, they made some efforts to create sort of like universal building blocks for higher functioning utilities and elements in Second Life, but it's a very incomplete and undirected sort of effort, which I think in a lot of ways sort of mimics the structure of the company. But yeah, it would be cool if there was like a generic teleporter kit in the in like the default folders. Just something that you could easily deploy, and then like, I mean, obviously Second Life is just so much more sophisticated than almost any other platform out there that is similar. Just like, you pretty much have to learn LSL, aka JavaScript, with its own unique like shell if you wanna do anything advanced. Alright, this is honeycomb, I think. This is interesting. And I've seen so many sims like this. Did I just go right into another gore sim? This is definitely an RP sim. There's so many medieval sims. But yeah, it would be neat if there was just some sort of like turnkey teleporter platform thing that instead they basically relied on, you know, users to create these utilities, and like some of them are on the marketplace, some of them you can just get in world or from random people. But then you gotta go in and like change the coordinates in LSL, and like, I mean, there's probably something out there like exactly what I'm talking about, but it's not an official Linden Lab thing, and it's not well documented so that it's easy for any builder to just set up. Things like that, it's not so much that they slow down production of builds. That's not the problem in my mind. The problem is that there's so much inconsistency, because every single person who's like, oh, I want to get from this point to this point on my sim, so I'm gonna have to code a little teleporter platform, or they're like, I'm gonna copy one off the marketplace or from freebies and then I'm gonna modify it. Like, every time that happens, the wheel is getting reinvented, and then not only are some of them sketchy in terms of performance or behavior, but they're really inconsistent in the user experience. You know, like, you never know what, like, some teleporter pads only work when you're standing on them. Some of them have drop down menus, some of them you just click on them, some of them you just walk over and they work. Like, there's a million and one different ways that the teleporters, the point-to-point teleporters in Second Life can work, and that's problematic, because like, you got to relearn the system every time you're interacting with one of these things, and they don't come with instruction manuals most of the time. Sometimes they do, though. So I don't know. On one hand, I feel like that's sort of the horror of this more like egalitarian bootstrapping kind of culture, but on the other hand, it's sort of the beauty of it too, because you never know what you're gonna get, and there's infinite diversity, and there's a sort of a thrill to that, I think, in just sort of puzzling things out, and like, how does this teleporter work, you know? Like, here's one, right? Oh, and this is a dragon riding thing. So, see, that's cool. It's got a tooltip, touch to activate. And that did absolutely nothing. Maybe because I need an experience token, or an animation override, or an RP HUD or something. You never know. And like, a lot of times, the only way to even find out is to read a bunch of note cards, or talk to people in the sim, or, you know, go to a website and figure things out. Once again, I'm saying that's the horror of the experience and the beauty of it, because it's always a mystery that you get to solve. But sometimes you just don't want to solve another mystery. Sometimes you just want to click a freaking button and get results, you know? And like, I feel like those are both fully legitimate points of view, and it would be nice if there's no reason not to have full inclusion of having both of those mentalities. Like, you could have a fully open-ended marketplace where people can do whatever they want and customize to their heart's content, and then you could also have sort of an official package that is released by the developer, which there's one downside to that, of course, which is overhead. Like, you do that, then obviously the Linden Labs has to like pay somebody to, you know, develop and program. Like, they've always avoided that, and I think for good reason, because I mean, look at Second Life, all these years, still standing, still making a huge profit when so many other virtual worlds never cracked that code. And part of that is because they've relied so heavily on the community to do so much of the heavy lifting, which it's a brilliant model, right? It really is a brilliant model as a business and as a creativity crucible, you know? It's just there's so much diversity that the good stuff doesn't always rise to the top, and in fact, I'd say the good stuff rarely rises to the top, which is kind of a cool aspect. Let's see if I can sit in this latrine. Nope. Okay, well, I guess I can fly over there. Just wanted to see what that big structure was. I can even find it now. There it is. I have my draw distance turned way down so that I can actually get a decent frame rate. And this is like a shop where you can buy stuff. Monster dragon skins or something. Maybe for those flying dragons. Yeah, this is kind of major old school vibes here. I'm just gonna do a copy and paste of the SL URL because this one was mildly interesting. That's my rating. Mildly interesting. Kind of tempted to click on one of these adjacent sims, but I don't like role-playing sims very much. They're just not that interesting to me. Alright, time for a little more coffee. Yeah, so back to meta. Hilarious. Oh my god, meta is gonna crash and burn so freaking hard. So hard. I mean, I don't think it's gonna tank Facebook, which is now meta, of course, but it's definitely going to, I think it signals for Utopia Island. That's tempting. Let's see if I can go here. Oh, come on. Yeah, it signals the beginning of the end for Facebook, aka Meta. Definitely. Like, we already knew that Facebook was getting long in the tooth. I mean, that's pretty much why they rebranded it. They probably anticipated their user numbers going into decline, which happened. You could say that was a self-fulfilling prophecy too, because the establishment of Meta and this whole push to go full bore into VR and the AR and the metaverse was something that inevitably that any analyst could have realized was going to end in disaster. Of course, there were a lot of people, obviously, who had the opposite opinion. And honestly, when I first started in Second Life, that was me. I was like, this is the future. Everybody's gonna be in Second Life in the future. It'll be the next internet. It's the next logical stage of the internet, you know. And that's exactly the fallacy and the mistake that Mark Zuckerberg made, and all of his little yes men and yes women that were surrounding him and told him that it was a good idea, despite a mountain of evidence to the contrary. Oh, there's so much evidence. So much evidence. And Second Life is probably by far the biggest, brightest, giantest, most compelling piece of evidence. Because Second Life is what Meta would aspire to be if it ever could actually get off the ground. Second giant chunk of evidence. Ooh, nice fridge, but the freezer doesn't open, which is disappointing. VR is never gonna be, and this is a really bold prediction I'm making. VR is never gonna be a mainstream thing ever. 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 Like, if you could just get one thing into the heads of these executives that think Meta has any future or potential whatsoever, that would be the point. Oh wow, look at that power strip. That's pretty crazy. Like, these are nightmarish enough in real life. Like, someone had to dutifully, perfectly recreate one. Like, a mess of chords. Like, honestly, I would want to expunge this kind of thing from the universe, but in Second Life, it's dutifully and beautifully recreated. Let's see who made this. It's actually a really nice job. Ellie Kirshner. Second Spaces. Yeah, so VR has so many problems. Yeah, exactly. Like, the joke about 3D TV, it's like, do you remember 3D TV? Does anybody remember 3D TV? It was gonna be the next big thing, and then it just sputtered and died. Like, oh, this is so cool. A pie dresser. I wonder, are these all cabinets? It kind of seems like they are, but they're not opening for me. Let's see. List mesh pie cabinet, white natural, Laney Boom. That's a nice asset. Really creative and cool. Well designed too. Well rendered. Definitely nerd fodder. Oh, and there's a Nixie clock over here. That's cool. I made a Nixie tube also. Not that small, not that. That is amazing, really. This is a real incredible work of art here. Meshworks. Laws. I would definitely check out that shop. It's sad. They did an absolutely mind-blowing job on the Nixie tubes. Like, literally perfect in almost every way. And then the case, like the glass case and the little platform it's on, is kind of substandard. But anyways, the coating and everything to pull that off, incredible piece of work. You're never going to see anything like that in Meta, ever. Not going to happen. So many idiots are going to like flock to Meta because it's Facebook property. Like, it's going to be a gold rush, power grab thing. but it's going to be a black hole of just endless time and energy and resources are going to flow into that. People thinking they're going to strike it rich on the next VR metaverse revolution, and it's just going to bomb so hard, so hard. It's going to crater. I would not be surprised if it completely destroyed Facebook. I think there's a possibility that that might actually happen. But yeah, VR, the problem with VR is multifold, manifold. Like, okay, the headsets are too damn heavy, for one thing. They induce vertigo, frame rates are bad. You can only really comfortably wear them for a little while. I mean, alright, a lot of these factors can be technologically marginalized, right? Like, weight. Microization, components get smaller and lighter over time. Eventually, you could theoretically have a VR headset, an AR VR headset, that's no different than a pair of lightweight eyeglasses. And wireless and all those other things can drastically reduce the overhead / footprint of that experience. But fundamentally, you still have the problem of the fact that human brains are not designed to have screens or even like lasers, projectors shooting right onto your retina, overriding or masking or augmenting reality. It's the problem is the brain body disconnect. You know, if there's ever going to be true VR AR type experience, it's going to be like in all those Osaki animes, like Sword Art Online, for example, where it's I forgot what they call it, like nerve gear or something. It's just like a helmet you put on your head, right? And it basically just takes over your entire central nervous system, which yeah, that's, oh, I just fell in the water. Perfect. He's got to have his daily swim. That is the only viable option because you have two competing forces. You have all the physical forces of the real world impacting the human body and the senses versus this inserted reality, or substitution reality, that is never going to line up with that ever unless you can somehow completely override the central nervous system. You know, like the Matrix, basically, like a giant needle that goes into the back of your skull and taps into your spinal cord and just takes over your brain and all your nerves. Nobody's gonna ever want that. I mean, transhumanists will want that. Never mind, I shouldn't say nobody. That's interesting. This beach house goes off the sim boundary, like it's a prop. Like you can't go all the way in, or maybe you can just go part way in. So yeah, sorry to burst all your bubbles, VR proponents. Like, it's always going to be an extreme, super niche type thing with like less than 1% of all users of technology participating in VR. And that's just how it's going to be. So Meta, obviously banking almost entirely on VR becoming a practical thing that somehow interfaces with human physicality and world physicality. That just, it's not possible. It cannot happen. And we are probably decades, if not centuries, if not millennia away from having enough understanding of the human brain to be able to override the brain. And that is not even considering all the ethical, philosophical hazards of that kind of a scenario where you would be basically kind of like killing a person in a way, because like killing the physical person in exchange for a virtual person. My partner forced me to watch the show Upload on Netflix a long while back, and I really liked the part where the guy's head explodes, or there's like a laser blender that basically just completely consumes the brain in order to scan it. And oh, sorry, I probably just spoiled this for some people. Spoiler alert, retroactive spoiler alert. Uh-oh, there's someone sleeping in their bed. I feel so rude. Sorry, bro. So yeah, like that's realistic. I think that's pretty much the only way you could ever. This is a nice little tool shed here. It's the only way you could ever really transcend from the physical plane into the virtual world. And ethical hazards aside, like I would say less than 1% of 1% is ever going to want to do that. So yeah, it's not looking good for Meta. It's not looking good, guys. Yeah, and like Facebook's history of privacy violations and ethical violations and just super fucked up shenanigans, criminal shenanigans that Mark Zuckerberg has spearheaded and will never take accountability for or be held responsible for because he's super fucking rich. Those things aside, like, yeah, it's not looking good. Which is fine, honestly, because there's so many things better than VR, like, and the metaverse, like even Second Life. Second Life is literally the most advanced. I mean, holistically, not technologically, not any other way, but it is holistically the most advanced virtual world, universe, environment, playground ever devised or implemented to our knowledge. I mean, who knows if there were like previous civilizations or God knows what, but in terms of what we have today, this is what the meta might look like in 10 or 20 years if they're lucky. Like Linden Labs has solved so many problems that Meta hasn't even had to cope with yet. I mean, they don't even have legs. I was just thinking. Sorry, Mills. I want to keep exploring the sim I'm on. Maybe later. Just totally lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, Linden Labs has already cracked so many problems that were really difficult, challenging problems, and they managed to do it over the course of a decade and some change, you know. So, and Meta clearly arrogant. Facebook, super arrogant company, super arrogant leadership. I wouldn't be surprised if the board of directors super arrogant. And it's the worst kind of arrogance too. It's that kind of arrogance where it's not earned, it's just assumed, because they're basically just completely riding on the coattails and the wave of social dynamics and momentum of their user base. Like, they have absolutely no credibility or credence for earning that. It just happened, basically. The technology. Okay, well, let's see. There's one thing that is technologically impressive about Facebook / Meta, and that is the scale of the operations for like data management and connectivity management, which is honestly monumental and like similar to Google. It's just mind-boggling how much information they're able to process, organize, and so forth. And obviously they've done a piss poor job in a lot of areas like moderation and mainly because they've been so obsessed with profit versus, everything else that's really important. That's just like Zuckerberg's like a product uh, of capitalism, of this a system that rewards bullies and brutality and exploitation and whatnot to generate money. So, I mean, there's no surprises there. It's not. It's almost. I feel like it's almost unfair to impose accountability, as bizarre and incongruent as that sounds. But it's like. The truth is, the most heinous acts happen not because people are cognizantly aware of what they're doing, but because they're unaware. They are clueless. They don't even understand what's happening, and they do these things because they're focused on. Oh, nice fern. They're focused on other things. Sometimes that's a mental problem, not just like a learning disability or whatever you want to call it. Sometimes people have legitimate like disorders that make it hard for them to perceive hierarchies and importance, and I would say most people in the world have that problem. Certainly myself included. I mean, geez, it's taken me most of my life to reprogram and deprogram myself in various ways in order to kind of understand the hidden reality below the surface of all of the chrome and gloss and propaganda and whatnot and academic nonsense that, I mean, not that all academic stuff is nonsense, not at all, but it's certainly a double-edged sword, like almost everything in reality. This is a cool little pad in here. I like it. They did a good job with the interior decoration. I'll be a gentleman and close the fridge. So yeah, nobody's gonna cry when Meta goes down in flames, is the bottom line. Can they survive alone on having a absolutely monumental infrastructure project that's just like able to manage so much information? I don't know. I mean, Google has certainly branched into that territory and is doing pretty well for themselves. So is Amazon. That's cool. Look at that big clock floating up there. Not sure if I went into this building already. Looks like there's some random... Oh, cool. The numbers like fall off or something. There's some neat props on this dropping clock. 6 prims. Wow. That's... Well, it's mesh. That's pretty cool though. So like when the minute changes over, the numbers fall off and then they're timed to expire, I think is how that works. That's pretty cool. Yeah, so the arrogance of the company prevents them from... I mean, like, they could have just bought Linden Lab, and then they would have had all this wealth of technology, but no, they want to build it from the ground up. But what they don't realize is that they've never built anything from the ground up. The ground rose underneath them and lifted them up, and that is why Facebook turned into a monolith, not because of any effort on their parts, but because of the groundswell. So what they don't realize is that they have nothing. They've never had anything except for hundreds of millions, well, billions of people. I think there's billions on Facebook. Yeah, billions of people lifting them up. So, I mean, it's going to be a brutal lesson for them to learn that they're not the ones responsible for what they've accomplished. I don't know if I'm going back the way I came. Kind of lost. I'm just wandering around the sim. This does look familiar. Oh yeah, I definitely walked by here. Okay, this is the direction I was going. And I came from over there, but there's a whole bunch of stuff on the other side of the sim too. I don't know, I might have seen the whole sim already. I really need like a streaming assistant or something who like follows me around and like badgers me and directs me and is like, Neo, you've already been over there. Go over to this other corner. Anyway, this is a cool sim. Definitely fun to visit. Alright, I did go down there. I'm not sure if I went up here, but looks like there's just a hot tub. Really nice hot tub. Let's see if I can try touching it first. No. No. Oh, it's an apple fall. There we go. See, you just never know. It's like, it's so hit or miss. There's no consistency. It's definitely where I'd be in real life. Yeah, I've been going for quite a while. I think I'm gonna probably close down the stream, but wow, that's awesome. It's good to be back. I hope I'll be back for a while. Who knows, honestly. Who freaking knows? But yeah, thanks for hanging out, guys. It's good to see some of you again. That's a really cool sculpture. Yeah, hang in there. Survive. And don't buy the hype. Don't buy the hype. Use critical thinking. Use first principles. And don't be arrogant like Facebook. And I want to keep exploring. I'm having to fight my natural impulses. I really like the aesthetics in here. I love this like bare wood, kind of plywoody sort of architecture. So clean. Yeah, thanks Ramsey. Hopefully I'll see you the next time. Alright guys, that's it for Neotoy story. He's gonna be chilling here and pickling in the hot tub for the next like 48 hours while you guys go about your busy lives. So take care, my friends.